In Houston today, the cleanup from Harvey continued. A number of large employers and universities began reopening. But many residents are just beginning to deal with damaged homes, the debris from flooding, and they are applying for assistance. Special correspondent Marcia Biggs caught up with the city's mayor, Sylvester Turner, as he was touring one of those neighborhoods earlier today.
Mr. Mayor, thank you so much for joining us.
Certainly.
My first question is, we're 11 days out now. We drive down these streets and it's lawn after lawn after lawn of debris. What's the scope of Harvey's damage today?
Almost every home in every community was impacted. And literally, this wasn't just a small rainfall. This was a historic, unprecedented rainfall where homes didn't just get 1 or 2 inches, they got feet of water in their home. So literally, people are emptying out their home, okay? For every big truck that we're sending out, we can only probably get debris from one particular house. One truck, one house. Probably in terms of units that were impacted, could have been well over 100,000 units. In some cases, we're going to be dealing with homes that simply cannot be rehabbed, so to speak. They may have to be rebuilt.
And what about the longer road to recovery? We still see areas that are completely underwater. Are we talking months? Are we talking years?
Well, in the city of Houston, there are 2 areas that are still dealing with flooding waters. One is northeast Houston, the Kingwood area, and the waters there are receding. The other area is in West Houston, and that's because of the release of water from the reservoir by the Corps of Engineers. And they're starting to lower those releases, the level of releases there. But those are the 2 areas. With respect to the other parts of the city of Houston, about 95% of the city of Houston is dry. Now, separate that from the region, okay, because there are still major problems in the region. But in terms of the city of Houston, 95% dry, electricity grid, there are probably about 12,000 homes that are out of power. The wastewater system, the water system is fine.
How long do you plan to continue the controlled releases? And what do you say to the families who feel that their neighborhoods were sacrificed in the greater good of the city?
Well, the reality is that those reservoirs were put in place decades ago in order to protect everything on the lower end, so to speak. This was an unprecedented amount of waterfall. So what the Corps of Engineers, what they are saying to us is that they have to build capacity on the west side of the dam. And in order to build that capacity, they're having these gradual releases over a period of time. And what their concern is, if there's another storm or hurricane coming and they don't build that capacity on the west side of the dam, then it could be catastrophic. So that it's a balancing. But those decisions are made not by the mayor, not by city council. Those decisions are made by the Corps of Engineers.
So something on the minds of a lot of the people that we've spoken to that were flooded is the level of toxicity and bacteria that was in those floodwaters. What can you tell us about that?
Well, I think anytime you have flooding of this magnitude and the water is running all over the place, you're going to get contaminants that are coming from all over, I think that's just a part of when you have flooding and a lot of that water is stagnant. It's not constantly running off, but stagnant, staying still. That's why, I certainly discourage anybody from walking in or playing in this water. It is not safe. It is full of contaminants. You don't know what you're walking in. And then on top of that, you don't know where you're walking. There could be manhole covers that are no longer there. So you have to be very, very careful. There are critters in this water. It's kind of swampy, so it's just not safe at all for anybody to be walking in the water. It's not even safe for our first responders.
What is your message to Congress about funding?
Well, to Congress, I would say this is not a time for party politics. This is a time to vote and vote yes. The initial request that's been asked by the president, approximately $8 billion. That's just the first tranche. A lot more is needed. But the people in the affected region need a quick vote, and hopefully that vote will take place this week.
How long do you plan on keeping the convention center open, and what's going to happen to those people, some of whom were homeless before this disaster?
And we're working on a housing plan for them. The convention center will probably stay open, let's say maybe towards the end of this coming week, no later than the 14th. We're putting together a housing plan. The number was at its max 10,000. It's now right around, the last number I saw this morning was about 1,600. It is the hardest population to place. But we're working on a housing plan for them. For those who were homeless prior, We'll look for shelters in other areas. But the goal is not to increase the population of people who are homeless on our street than existed prior to the storm. So we're not going to be pushing people out of the convention center and putting them back on the streets. Our goal is to place people in housing with a roof over their head instead of being on the street lying in the dirt. We don't want that, and so we're putting together a plan. I simply hope that everybody will work with us so that we can transition them to a better place, and in many cases a better place than what they had prior to the storm.
There's been a lot of discussion of development occurring without any nod to flood concerns. What is your feeling going forward? Are you going to try and tear down some of those neighborhoods? And how are Houstonians holding up?
Well, number one, let me answer that. Houstonians have a strong spirit. This is a can-do city. This is a growing city. It's very dynamic. But at the same time, let's take advantage of technology, innovations, be very creative, minimize flooding. We can't stop Mother Nature, but we certainly can take definitive steps to mitigate against the risk of flooding. And we're going to be cognizant of what has happened from this storm and previous storms to try to mitigate future costs down the road.
Mr. Mayor, thank you so much for joining us.
No, thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
And thank you, Marcia Biggs. So